Well, while we got a bit of downtime here, the boys have got a flat tyre back there in the KTM. Thought it'd be a good opportunity just to, I guess, talk a little bit about what we're doing here today. I guess the three bikes we're looking at, what we've got here are the three lightest, best, I guess, power to weight ratio bikes on the market. All 2014 models. So what we've got here, we've got the 250 and the 350EXC double overhead cam from KTM, exc-f I should say. Both use the same platform in the engine now. Without going into too much detail, the 250's never been, well, not recently anyway, hasn't been a big seller in Australia. Sells less than 100 units compared to something like the 350EXC over their biggest seller. 100 cc's more, sells something like 800 units a year in Australia alone, almost 6,000 units worldwide. So what we thought would be interesting is, because this 250 now, it's got a bigger bore engine for 2014, uses last year's the motocross platform engine now, and despite thinking that bigger bore is going to mean less torque, it's actually they've managed to produce more torque by some corresponding changes with flywheel, with transmission, with mapping. So what we thought is, has it closed the gap on the 350, which is by far and away the most popular bike in the KTM range and in that mid-capacity market. So I guess the idea behind the test was to put this 250 up against the 350, which really hasn't had a lot of changes this year. They're just sort of minor refinements. And throw into the works the spoiler, I guess, in a lot of ways. Sherco's SE300-R racing. The difference between the standard and the racing models from Sherco is that they run the WP suspension as opposed to the SAC stuff, and they'll be Moto Central, who brings in the bikes into Australia, will be predominantly bringing in the racing models this year. So the Sherco for 2014, it gets the big news, I guess, is it gets a new ignition, new ECU. It's a Synerject system, which is a French-made with a French-made bike. Funny that. As are the plastics, all French-made. Some different shrouds this year. There are some other small changes with the transmission, with the head this year. They've got some different valves, etc. But you have to say probably the really big change for 2014. With this Sherco, and only the 300 got it, not the 250, is that Synerject ignition. Interestingly now, with Husqvarna's, or the Italian-made Husqvarna TE310R being, I guess, discontinued. Yes, there are some 2014 models in the country, but without being discontinued now, this Sherco is the only 300 on the market. So here we've got the 250, more grunt, more torque, more mumbo this year, more inclination to carry a sort of slightly heavier guy. The only 300 on the market now for 2014, and the biggest selling bike, one of the biggest selling bikes in the enduro category in Australia, and certainly on a worldwide basis, selling massive amounts of numbers back there with the 350. So it's been a very interesting test. What we did is we took them up into the bush, we took them around some grass track down here, we've got another enduro loop out the back, all pretty snotty guys, varying in weight from 65 to 95 kilograms. And it was a really interesting result. You can certainly say that everything's a lot closer than they were last year. But you're going to have to get the January issue of the magazine, which is on sale in early December, and full details in there in that issue to sort of take you through the differences, and I guess what we found each bike suited, what sort of terrain each bike suits, what sort of rider each bike suits best. But they're three fantastic bikes, and like I say, between 108 and 109.5 kilograms. They're the three lightest things on the market now, with incredible suspension packages and engines to boot. So it's been a really interesting couple of days.